All right, time again for tax tips in 10 minutes or less. I'm Dean Barber along with Corey Holstein, CPA. Corey, thanks for being here.
Yeah, appreciate you having me, Dean.
All right, so we're going to talk about something today, and I want to preface it by saying I'm not an advocate ever of taking money out of an account that's designed to be a retirement account, but there are some exceptions to the 10% penalty rule on IRA accounts. So first of all, Corey, talk about what the 10% penalty is for early distributions from an IRA.
Yeah, when we think about IRAs, 401ks, these are meant to be this long-term investment stored away for our retirement period of life. The IRS, Congress says today, that time period starts at 59 and a half. If we need to access these accounts before the age of 59 and a half, we are subject to 10% additional tax on the distribution. So meant to be this long-term account, we're accessing it early. If it's from a traditional or pre-tax type account, we still have to pay the income taxes no matter what, and we get hit with an extra 10% penalty.
So it's kind of like, don't touch that or I'm going to smack you on the wrist, right? And so it's meant to be a deterrent for people to take money out of their retirement account. Now, there's some exceptions here. 401k exceptions as an example, and that doesn't really apply here, but the 401k exception is, hey, you can borrow the money out and then pay it back. And I say, don't do that. Why? Because you're missing the time of growth on that. And it's a compound interest, right? So there's things that you can get your money out of your IRA for, and there's things that you maybe should think about, but again, I think the IRA should be that long-term investment, but let's go through what some of these exceptions are for the 10% penalty. Obviously, the first two here, death and disability, right? If you die, become disabled, money can come out, and there is no 10% penalty if you're under 59 and a half.
Correct.
Then there's one that can be used, and I'm an advocate for this one, and that is the following the IRS Code Section 72T.
Yeah, so basically what this is, Dean, there are some more favorable ways to accomplish the same thing here that we can talk about later, but if you're before 55, the age of 55 when you separate service, you can equally spread out payments. The payments must get you to at least 59 and a half or 5 years. It has to be the longer of those two periods. So we can equalize our distributions from that account over a period of time. That comes out penalty free.
So let's just say, for an example, that somebody had $1 million in their account. They got to follow a formula, but they're under 59 and a half. They want to access and they want to retire because maybe they have some other funds elsewhere. But at $1 million, let's say that they could take $50,000 a year based on this formula. What that rule says is that you have to take the exact same amount out every single year. And if you deviate even $1, then the whole thing becomes subject to that 10% penalty.
And it gets pretty complicated from there, Dean. There's different ways to determine whether you're basing it on a dollar amount, percentage, a different table. So the key here is if you're going to do this 72T, you have to make sure it's right because, to your point, it disqualifies not only the current year money you took out, but everything you took historically, all at a 10% penalty. You're talking a lot of money on a $50,000 distribution over a 5 or 10 year period.
Now, there's some things here for medical expenses. So if you have medical expenses, you can access your money from your IRA without the 10% penalty as long as those expenses exceed 7.5% of your adjusted gross income.
Correct. So think of it, your income is $100,000 this year. That means the first $7,500 doesn't really count. Your excess medical deductions on top of that would be eligible to be pulled from a 401k or IRA without the 10% penalty.
So let's just say, for an example, Corey, somebody had $15,000 of medical expenses. The first $7,500 in that example, because of the $100,000 of adjusted gross income, they can't use their IRA, but they could pull out $7,500 from their IRA to pay for that second $7,500 of medical expenses.
Correct.
Now, here's the question. Does it actually have to go to pay for the medical expenses, or does it just allow you to get the money out?
Money is pretty fungible, Dean. So I don't know that they're going to track down exactly where those dollars ended up and how they got there. A lot of these here, Dean, the takeaway I would want it to be is a lot of these are for hardships, right? So we just talked about medical expenses. There's another one here for terminal illness. We talked about death and disability. You can take a pretty significant amount of money out if you're in a federally declared disaster area.
Right, that's up to 22 grand.
Right, so you're talking hurricane, tornado, flooding type event there.
Fires out in California, that type of thing.
Domestic abuse is another example here where the spouse can access some of that money to recover and to carve that new path out.
Now here's one that I think's interesting. You can pull up to $5,000 out for either the birth of a child or an adoption.
Correct.
And I don't think a lot of people really think about that. Now, again, I don't advocate for taking money out of the retirement account because I don't think that's what it's for. It shouldn't be used as a piggy bank. But if you don't have other funds, there's ways to access parts of your money that's in that retirement account without that 10% penalty. And that's really what we're trying to get the point across of here.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to drive home is this is our last ditch effort.
Right.
We don't have any other place to go. This is a bailout for us. Now, everything that we just talked about, Dean, all of those different exceptions apply both to your 401k and your IRA accounts. The next couple here are IRA specific. So we can take money out of our IRA accounts for higher education expenses. Going to college. Let's take money from that 401k to avoid the student loans.
And it doesn't appear that there's a limit on that.
There is no clear limit today.
Okay, so let's go back, and we did another program on the Trump account, which effectively at 18 it turns into you have the same IRA rules. So does that mean that if that child has that Trump account, that they can use that Trump account that has been tax deferred for 18 years to pay for higher education expenses and avoid the 10% penalty?
That is the thought today. There's more detail that needs to come out on those Trump accounts, but the thought today is it's going to fall into similar classification of an IRA when it comes to exceptions to the 10% penalty.
Okay. All right. Also, first-time home buyers. You can get up to $10,000 out of your IRA for first-time home buyers. I'm not sure, with homes as expensive as they are today, what that's really going to accomplish.
Right. A $10,000 down payment doesn't go terribly far in the current market of real estate. Health insurance if you're unemployed. So you lost your job, you need health insurance to keep moving forward. Maybe you elect for COBRA. You can pull funds from your IRA account to meet those COBRA payments. So
I can see that one, Corey. Let's say that let's just say they're 45 years old, they lose their job, they haven't saved anywhere except for in their company 401k. But this doesn't apply to 401k. So that individual would then have to say, hey, I want to roll that 401k to an IRA, and then I can at least use funds from that IRA to pay for health insurance.
Correct. Yes. But make sure you accomplish that first step of moving it out of the 401k into an IRA. No tax on that transaction, but now we meet the rules for the exception.
All right, there's a few more here, and we won't get to all these because we're trying to do this in 10 minutes or less, Corey, but the age 55 for employer plans, and this is all the rest of these are employer plans only. The age 55 rule doesn't mean just because you're over the age of 55, you can pull money out without the 10% penalty. Another thing has to happen.
You have to separate service after the age of 55. So this is where I had that bit of a clarification on our 72T earlier.
Right.
If we are retiring from our employer after 55, I don't want to utilize the 72T.
Right.
I would rather leave some money in my company's 401k and just take normal distributions whenever I need to. There's way less rules here, but it has to be in the 401k.
Right. So in that example, you would suggest a partial rollover, leaving enough money in the company plan to support your income needs for whatever period of time it takes until your IRA actually gets you to 59.5.
Correct. At that point, we can roll the rest of the money out of the company plan, and we are no longer facing any type of penalties moving forward.
Now, there's something special here for public safety employees here, age 50 or 25 years of service. So if you've reached age 50 and you've got 20, that's it, 50, hey, I can get money out of my plan without the 10% penalty. If I've got 25 years of service, I can also get money out of my plan without the 10% penalty.
Correct.
Which is a big deal. So what about, there's this QDRO, Qualified Domestic Relations Order. That's something that happens through a divorce. You've got pension-linked savings accounts and phased retirement distributions from federal plans. Those get a little bit more nuanced, but I think we get the point across here, Corey, that look, if you need to access funds from your IRA or from your 401k, there are exceptions to the 10% rule. Again, don't think of this as your piggy bank, but just understand that should a hardship arise, should something need to be done, there are ways to access these funds. And some of these are some good tax planning techniques too.
Absolutely. Yeah. If there is a benefit, especially you think about that age 50 or older type rule on the public service employees, yeah, let's start accessing some of that money potentially to get us through from 50 to 60 would be a classic example. If we're not working in that time period, we got a low income, easy way to drive our income up, take things out at a tax advantage rate.
Best idea, talk to a CPA that's working with a CFP, right?
Correct.
All right, Corey. Thanks for taking time to join me here on America's Wealth Management Show for tax tips in 10 minutes or less. I'm Dean Barber. Until next time, everybody stay healthy and stay safe.
The views expressed represent the opinion of Modern Wealth Management, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Information provided is for illustrative purposes only and does not constitute investment, tax, or legal advice. Modern Wealth Management does not accept any liability for the use of the information discussed. Consult with a qualified financial, legal, or tax professional prior to taking any action.